Good afternoon, Key Stage 1, Years 1 and 2. We are going to move on to the next of our DT lessons. So we have already had a look at making sliders, we've had a look at making levers. Would love to see some photos of how you've been doing with those. I've only seen a couple so far, so it would be really nice to see some more of your creations and your DT work. So today we're going to move on to a different mechanism, and the first thing we need to do is read the story that's going to inspire our work today. So hopefully you can see that. Our story today is Little Red Riding Hood. Once upon a time there was a girl called Little Red Riding Hood. She lived with her mother in a village near a forest. One day, Little Red Riding Hood went to visit her grandmother. She took a basket of food with her. On her way, Little Red Riding Hood met a wolf. "Hello," said the wolf. "Where are you going?" "I'm going to visit my grandmother who lives in the forest," explained Little Red Riding Hood. The wolf ran to Grandmother's house. He went inside, put on a nightgown and got into her bed. A little later, Little Red Riding Hood came to the house. She knocked on the door and went inside. Little Red Riding Hood went over to Grandmother's bed. "Oh, Granny, what big ears you have," she said. "All the better to hear you with," answered the wolf. "Oh, Granny, what big eyes you have," said Little Red Riding Hood. "All the better to see you with," replied the wolf. "Oh, Granny, what big teeth you have," gasped Little Red Riding Hood. "All the better to eat you with," replied the wolf. "Help!" shouted Little Red Riding Hood as she realized that there was a wolf in her grandmother's bed. She ran out of the house. A woodcutter was nearby. He heard Little Red Riding Hood scream and ran to the house. The woodcutter hit the wolf over the head and the wolf ran away. Little Red Riding Hood never saw him again. The end. Now, let's have a look at what we are going to be doing this afternoon. So our mechanism for today is a wheel mechanism, which is going to enable you to make parts of your picture move in a very different way to your lever and your slider. So if you remember, your lever means that your piece in your picture can move from side to side, or it can go up and down. Your lever, sorry, that was your slider. Your lever has a pivot point and things can pivot around and move like that. Your wheel is going to mean you can move things around and around. So we're going to be you're making a wheel mechanism and using it in your product today. Putting a card disc on my background with the edge sticking out. I can draw a small square on my background and cut it out and use a split pin to fix the disc and the paper together. And if you have collected your resource packs from the school office that I put together, you should have had more than enough split pins and bits and odds and ends of card in there to be able to do this. Draw images for the disc and turn the disc to check that it moves easily and the pictures look correct. So we've read Little Red Riding Hood story, and we're now going to turn part of the story into a moving picture using a wheel. A wheel is a circular, round object, and it revolves on an axis. So if you can see my arrow on the screen here, this rod that is sticking through the middle of the round part of the wheel, that's the axis. So in the same way that your lever had a point that was held in one place, the pivot, and the lever moved over it, a wheel has an axis that it moves around. You're going to turn part of the story of Little Red Riding Hood into a moving picture using your wheel mechanism. So this is what your picture is going to end up looking like. You can see this part here has got a little window cut out of it. Here is your split pin, and this is your wheel mechanism, and as you turn it, different things will happen in the window here. The good thing about using this mechanism is that it is behind the picture, so it doesn't get in the way of people seeing the rest of your background. The bad thing is that it doesn't show the image moving across the picture, just the image changing in one place. You can show something getting bigger, which might look like it's coming closer. You can also show something getting smaller, which makes it look like it's getting further and further away. So wheel mechanisms are quite useful for that, but they do have their downside as well. So step one, you will start with a card disc, which has a hole in the center of it. So you can use any scrap bit of card for this. I'd find something round in my house to draw around, a roll of sellotape or a small cereal bowl or a pot of some sort. Draw around it, and then we make a hole in the center of it. And if you remember, we make a hole safely by pushing a sharp pencil down through either into Play-Doh or into your carpet, not into your hand, please. You put the disc behind your background and make sure that the edge is sticking out. So you can see here about half the circle, half the disc is behind the picture and the other half is sticking out the side. Push a split pin through the background and into the hole on the wheel, so it goes through both layers. It will go through your background, through the disc underneath, and then you split the pin open and fold the ends down the other side, like that. Important bit here is turn the card disc once you've done that, and just check that it does move, because if you've pushed your split pin down too hard, you'll find that the disc won't move properly and you could end up ripping it as you're trying to turn it, so do test it. Turn the paper over and using a pencil draw a neat box quite near the edge of the paper. Open the paper fastener so that you can take the paper off the card disc, cut out the square from your page and then put your wheel mechanism back on, reassemble, that means put back together. Draw 3 pictures of the wolf on the card disc. Each picture needs to get slightly bigger each time. The pictures need to be small enough to fit into the square cut from the background. It is easier to draw these with the card disc fixed in place so that you can check if the picture looks correct from the front. Then turn your disc to make sure it moves easily and that the pictures look correct. So this is what you're going to have a go at doing. I'm going to attach the resources for you onto the blog. Again, if you don't want to print them or you can't print them at home, that's fine, because you can draw, I'm pretty sure everybody can draw a forest background. I'm pretty sure everybody could have a go at drawing Little Red Riding Hood on a path. And I'm pretty sure you can also draw a wolf of some description, a small wolf, slightly bigger wolf, and then another slightly bigger wolf on there. But if not, the bits are in there for you to print off and have a go. Okay, safety first, please be careful with your scissors. Please be careful when you're poking holes in the card. Please be careful with the split pins because they are sharp at the end and I don't want anybody attaching themselves to their DT project, please. Now, whilst you're making it, I want you to have a think about what the hardest part was. So if there was a really tricky bit, I want you to think about whether you have enjoyed making the wheel mechanism and what you think of it, whether you like it or not. And maybe get your other mechanisms out from the other weeks and put them side by side and just have a look at them this week and decide which one you liked the best. I'd be really interested in knowing, because next week and the week after we're going to be using those mechanisms and what we've learned and putting them together to make our own moving picture. Okay, so super exciting. I love this this DT topic. So good luck. Let me stop this here so that I can see you better. Good luck, have fun with it, be safe with the equipment, and as I say, do think as you're working through it, am I finding this easy? Is it tricky? Have I done it right? Does it look right? Could I improve it? So it's all about that perseverance and resilience, those 2 school values. Have I done a good job here? Or actually, could I have another go and make it even better? Have a think. It's all about evaluating as you're going along. That will really help you when we come to our planning our new product next week. Good luck. Bye.